wait, can you unlock it again?
This is like ASMR.
Yeah.
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Ready? Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is Season 5, Episode 1 of the Sueños y Deseos Podcast. I'm Yesenia, and I am so excited for you guys to be here today to get to know these lovely ladies. These ladies are a part of my core New York City group, and I've known Kaitlyn my whole life. I was there when she was born, and when I first shortly moved to New York through my work, I actually met Scarlett. And then I've met Brittany recently, and we become so close. And so these women have all been such a beautiful, beautiful part of my life. And I wanted you guys to know their stories. So without further ado, Brittany, you could start. Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. So my name's Brittany. I am born and raised in New York. So I'm a native New Yorker. I was born in Brooklyn. And really, I think what drew me to this podcast more than anything is just talking about women's narratives since Women's History Month. Happy Women's History Month.
Happy
to
Women's
all
History
of you.
Month.
But really sharing what the experience is like for a woman in New York and all of our different experiences living here. And even just to people who are like, I might want to move to New York, they can kind of tune into this and see what it's all about. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
I'm glad that you're here. And it's a great group to get to know what New York City is like. Very diverse, all beautiful opinions and views on life. Scarlett?
Hello, everyone. My name is Scarlett. Thank you for having me, Yessie.
Absolutely.
It is truly an honor to be featured on this podcast. I have listened to a few episodes, and I must say I love the way you sound. Like, I can just listen and just go on with my day and run errands. I'm like, oh, it's so soothing. She's a great speaker, mentor, friend, sister, everything. So, I mean, all her episodes have been super empowering. Speaking of Women's History Month, you know, it's just perfect timing and aligning for all this. I live in New Jersey, but I am not far from New York, so I do come when I can. And New York is always a good time. I was born in the Bronx, raised in Jersey. Scattered out to some places around United States. We'll get into that. But East Coast will always be home. And how we met, we will get on that topic as well. But ever since we met, it's just been a very powerful friendship. And
We
I'm
literally
thankful.
are sisters. Like
Yeah.
everyone thinks we're sisters
Yeah.
when we're out. And it's just, again, the beauty of the divine intervention of life. You know, I couldn't have imagined, again, we all will share that, our connections. But again, that's the beautiful part of moving here and being out and about in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Kaitlyn?
I'm Kaitlyn. I was born and raised in the Bay Area. I just moved to New York 3 months ago today, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. This is my second podcast with you, so I'm excited for Season 5. And I love that we have video now. That's so cool. So excited to talk to you ladies.
Yeah. So tell us, everybody, I want to hear how old we are. Are we single? What's going on? Are we dating? What is up?
I am 30, flirty, and thriving.
Hey, we love that. We love that.
Preach. 30 as well. Flirty. Yeah. 30,
Yeah.
flirty, and thriving.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's the same. 100%. Been single for a long time now. Loving it, learning, embracing, growing, and I'm ready.
Hey,
For the world.
We love that.
I'm 28, but I identify as 26. I am single, but I'm dating.
Nice. And I'm the oldest of the group. I'm 34, going to be 35 this year. Single, very happy. For me, it's been a very beautiful time to be a 34-year-old woman in New York City. I could never have imagined my dreams and desires being where they're at now. When I first moved here, as you guys all know, I started working with a helicopter company, and my life has really just changed into this beautiful dream that, you know, I'm always working really hard, but I just 100%, this city is just so next level. And I completely understand when people say that New York City is its own world. It very much is. And I know that Kaitlyn and I have been here within the last 2 years. You know, she just moved here 3 months ago. We're both from California. So I really want to start off by hearing what your experiences are like in New York, because you guys were born and raised here. This is your neck of the woods. So what is it like growing up in the New York City, Jersey area? And what things, like, you know, for yourself, are you like, oh my goodness, this is why we rock the entire world?
Honestly, I will say that one of my favorite things is hearing people who aren't from here saying that they're here and they love it. I love hearing people who aren't from here say how much they love the city, because of course I feel biased and be like, oh yeah, I love the city, this is my home, blah, blah, blah. But to have other people come and say, no, I love it too, is great. So I love even seeing your content where you're like NYC nights and all of those things, just celebrating the city is so beautiful. And I love that. So that's definitely my favorite part about living here, is to then say, oh yeah, I'm from here. And it's like, really? You know? Even when I go abroad and I say that I'm from New York, people are like, oh my God, I want to go so badly. So the city is so magical, just like you said, for that reason, because everybody can kind of connect with wanting to be or being from this place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so fire that you're from here. Like when I was a kid, I always wanted to be from here. So I feel like when I have kids, I want my kids to be from here.
Well, being born in the Bronx, lived there for 2 months of my life. And then my parents decided, let's go to Jersey. It's more calm, better, and safer to raise children. So I did grow up in the suburbs of New Jersey. Actually, I was an Army baby. My dad was in the military. So I lived in, are you ready?
Yeah.
Texas, California, Colorado. But I was young. So I only really remember living in California when I was up till about kindergarten.
Okay.
And then
Where?
San Diego.
Okay.
Oceanside.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. And then till I was about second grade, then we moved back to the suburbs of Old Bridge, New Jersey, Central Jersey, by the shore, Jersey Shore. Shout out.
Oh my God, I want to go there so
You guys have
bad.
to come.
Yeah, please take me this
I live,
summer.
I live like 30 minutes away from the beach.
Nice.
Nice.
So it's nice that I can like go 30 minutes. I'm in Jersey City, 30 minutes, I'm down the shore.
Mm-hmm.
Central Jersey is like a prime factor. People sleep on Central Jersey.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know, when I do want some fun, a little bit of chaos, I'll come to New York. That's what it is. But you appreciate the good and the bad. It's a city that never sleeps. I am 100% proud that I was born in the Bronx. When I tell people I'm born in the Bronx, they're like, oh, like that already sets the tone for who I am.
Yeah.
And even though I wasn't raised here, my whole family's from New York. So they raised me with that attitude, that personality, those characteristics, and it has stuck with me, you know, as I've moved across the country. I was living in Arizona for about 5 years, and I was like, oh, I'm from Jersey, New York. They're like, oh, okay, we won't mess with you. I'm like, yeah, don't. Just don't. But, I mean, it's I love it. Take good pride in being from New York.
Absolutely. Kaitlyn, so you've been here for 3 months. Is there anything that you're like, wow, this is so different than I expected? Or are there anything in particular that you're just like, oh, you know, I thought it was going to be like this and it's going that way?
What were your expectations?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the magic has kind of worn off.
It will never wear off
Like,
for me.
No, I mean, just like when I first moved here, I was like, everything is great. Everything's perfect. This is a dream. This is everything. I love it. But it's like really expensive to live in the city, and you have to make good money. Like, so that's definitely one thing. Like, it's definitely like the most expensive place ever. So it definitely motivates you though to like want to be successful and work harder and like have goals, because you really can't survive here unless you are successful.
Yeah.
You definitely have to be a hustler.
Yeah.
And again, again, onto that, like because we're away from our family, it definitely is one of those things that I appreciate that you're here, because
of
it does
course.
get lonely too, because you have to work your ass off. So it's like you're working your ass off, and then alongside that, I mean, you are with your friends when you can, but in order to make it, in order to thrive, you have to work.
Yeah,
intensely.
it definitely can be lonely, like without my family too, because I'm so used to them being so close and being like by myself every day, pretty much. It can be lonely, but I mean, I do have like a lot of friends here, but it's just like different. I feel like I don't really have anyone who I'm like, oh, like come over. Like, I don't have like my best friend here. she's in California. So that's like a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that tip my cap to both of you, because honestly, if I wasn't born and raised here, I don't know what I would think of the city. Like if I was from
I
somewhere else
agree.
and making that big move and that big jump of like
I 100%
big,
agree.
like not big fish, big pond, small fish moment. And I think about how privileged I am even to be like, okay, I'm born and raised here. I've moved out, you know, I have my own place and everything. But I know if push comes to shove, I have my mom's house. If anything, I have friends who live here that I've known since middle school. You know, like if I really fell on like hard times, I have a solid foundation to fall back on. And, you know, other people are like, oh yeah, if I get fired from this job, I have to move back home. I have to move out of the state and that's it. It's over. So yeah,
It's
kudos
very
to you
real.
both.
It's very real, but you know,
Yeah.
again, for me at least, I can say that I'm such a social butterfly, and then that's how we met.
Yes.
You know, again, I joined Parlor Social, so shout out Parlor.
Shout out to Parlor.
Yeah, shout out to Parlor. I've made so many connections from friendships to networking, but we met through Parlor, and again, it's been such a beautiful place to connect and meet people that are here and doing similar things or very different things, but again, understanding the mentality of New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does get hard, and there's moments, I'm very real about that it's not easy being away from family. I'm so quick to talk about that because family's everything to me, and I'm in the center of both where my sister is and my parents and my brother. So it's hard, and I sometimes, again at 34 now, I'm like, there's moments I really want to go home, but I just try and stay very like, okay, disciplined. It's too expensive to just like go back immediately.
I think they should
but
just come here, to be honest.
I don't see anyone in my family ever moving to
I
New
could
York.
never
Not-
see that either, but like I don't think I would move back. I would never in my life move back to the Bay Area, that's for sure. Maybe LA, but I feel like I just want my mom here. Like
Yeah, I want your mom here too.
I know, like, or Tracy, like my sister, she's my best friend. So like that's so hard not being able to see her, like, because I love her so much and I just want to spend like all my time with my mom and my sister. I have another sister and brother, but we're not as close. But yeah, I wish my sister would move here, but
Yeah,
my mom would never.
yeah. So
I have a question for you guys, being from California and then coming to New York.
sure.
I mean, I kind of experienced the type of change living in Arizona, being that's so close to California. The people there are so much friendlier, nicer, open. But, choosing your friends and friends that are family, that all comes into play. But I did feel lonely as well, being away from my family across the country. It's a big risk to take, so I'm proud of you guys.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
It's very empowering and it's very bold, and it's hard. It's rough, but you get through the days. And you're living in a magical city. You're not living in like Idaho. I mean, shout out Idaho, but whatever.
shade
Shout out
Idaho.
Potatoes. I think one of the worst things ever is if you move to New York in the winter, which is what I did.
Seasonal
yeah.
depression.
Yeah.
Let's talk
It-
about the seasonal depression.
Yeah, because first of all,
God.
it is so, can I swear?
Yeah, you can say whatever.
Fucking cold here. Like beyond insane. Like so
Were you
cold.
expecting this?
I mean, I was expecting cold, but not this fucking cold, like day and night. And it gets so depressing because it's so freezing, so dark, especially when I moved here in December. It was like I went to work and it was low-key dark. And then when I left work, it was completely dark. So it's like I never saw sun. Like I don't see sunlight that much. And then going home to be alone, and then it be so cold that you don't want to go out and do anything because it's so cold. You want to be inside. So if you can make it through like winter in New York, I feel like
got
you're
this.
good. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got this.
It's
But I
true.
10 out of 10 would not recommend doing it in winter.
I
a
would
great
say, the East
recommendation.
Coast weather does make me want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing
That's
that
why
I
did
don't
leave.
like about
That's
New
why I
York.
did leave.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
left. 'cause
Do
I
you
was just
guys
like, I
plan
can't.
your travels then around that? Like, do you guys growing up, even like from starting from childhood to now, like, do your families plan like leaving during winter and like traveling more in
Yes,
winter?
I would take vacations in the winter. I don't really like to travel in the summer because it's so beautiful here.
That's
Mm,
so
that's so
interesting. I've
true.
never thought about that because in
Yeah.
California, it's you don't really because of weather, you don't really think about those things. It's pretty similar. There's rainy seasons. We're from Northern California in the Bay, so it's like that. I mean, but LA isn't too far from that either, and it's a very
Yeah.
different heat when it is hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like if ever we travel during the summer. So I never thought about that before. That's so interesting.
My family and I weren't really snowbirds, so we weren't ever really escaping the cold. We kind of just stayed put and just dealt with it. But also, I feel like most of us are winter babies. Like my dad's born in February, I'm December, my sisters are January. So it's kind of like, okay, we're here for the birthdays, or if we're doing a trip for a birthday, it'll be right after Christmas, and then, Christmas travel and all of that. So I don't think we ever really did it. But also in the vein of New York City summers being beautiful, they are up until a certain point.
Yeah.
And then it feels steamy.
Yeah.
The Hudson River is just boiling up and steaming up the whole city, and you're just like, oh my God. But it depends.
Yeah. I mean, all the times that I've came to New York, it's been during summer, and I've been here when it's been so
The heat
hot.
waves.
Yeah, but I would honestly take that. Like, I would rather be like outside in the streets naked than fucking having like 20 coats on now.
Yes.
Like, I just want to. I love the sun. I love being warm, and I miss
the sun.
Yeah, I miss the sun so much.
For real. It's raining right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a rainy day today.
It is. So how do you guys feel about the rain? Are you guys like indifferent? Are you?
It's
Okay, right. That's another
disgusting.
topic. Like
But
sometimes.
this is why I lived in Arizona.
Yeah.
Sunshine and heat. Okay, so
No, it's
summers in
the-
Arizona. Are we gonna talk about it? I can't.
Yeah,
talk
let's
about
talk about it.
it. 120.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Bye.
That's why.
Like they have
Arizona.
heat warnings. Like stay inside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
What
go
do
in
you
the
even do?
You go in the
wouldn't have to
pool.
warn me.
It's like a hot tub.
Oh
Ugh.
my gosh.
You
The
wouldn't
hot
have
tubs
to
aren't
warn
even
me.
on. They don't
I
even
wouldn't
turn
know.
the hot tubs on.
Yeah, I feel like the houses wouldn't even come with the hot tub.
Well, the houses out there are built differently.
Yeah,
than here, 'cause
definitely.
It's just they can
Yeah.
withhold the heat.
Yeah.
But that's why a lot of people in Arizona in the summers travel. They
Yeah.
leave because it's too hot.
Of course.
And then everyone during the winter, fall here, go there because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
we
so
just
it's
need
just opposites.
we need California weather in New York.
Yeah.
I just feel like California has the perfect weather because it's not too hot, not too cold.
There's a breeze.
Yeah, I would definitely see myself moving to LA just for the weather because I don't know about the cold
LA's
here.
a little crazy.
What do you guys think about LA? Let's talk about LA.
LA nights, I
got a
will
lot
say
to say
the
about
only the only part I was going to say about LA nights is that swing. And that's really all of California. I feel like I've been to Mountain View, to San Francisco. I've been to Anaheim, like I'm a little more South LA. And that swing at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you have to pack a coat in the
Oh,
car
yeah,
because
that's
later
true.
it's going to drop like 30 degrees and it's like, okay, it's cold now, but it was hot earlier. Like, yeah, I feel like that's the one piece that I'm like, okay, if I ever lived in LA, that's the one part that I would have to get used to. But I will say in general, and shout out to LA, another magical city. We're not gonna, downplay LA. It's wonderful. My thoughts are, because I have a friend who lives there. And when I stay with her, she'll be like, oh, make sure that your shower isn't too long because there's a drought. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
It's like, wait,
That
like
is
if I
not
just need,
true.
No, I feel like there's times where it dips in and out. Like, for example, LA just got a lot of rain, so maybe they're probably not going to see all of the drought warnings and things like that. But it's also a thing of like, okay, even sometimes the water quality is a little weird. Even sometimes we went to the restaurants and they would just pour like just a tap water for the table.
Ew.
And she was like, let's see the special of the day with this water because it could taste a little funny. And I like smelled it and was like, oh no.
Oh my god.
I don't even feel like I should consume. Should anybody?
No,
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And this was last year.
I don't drink
Yeah.
tap water, period.
Yeah.
Like, if I would rather just not be drinking anything. Like, I know.
I'll drink tequila instead.
Yeah, I know. I'll be
Cheers to
dehydrated.
that.
Cheers.
Like,
Sorry,
cheers.
guys, I'm not drinking.
That's okay. That's okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. We are drinking tequila. Tequila, yes, he always, recommends that. But again, yeah, it's really good.
Right?
Do you guys like it?
It is good. I
Yeah.
like it.
Are you guys drinking it with orange juice straight?
Yes.
I am drinking it with orange juice.
Orange juice. You're drinking straight.
I need a buffer.
straight.
A champion.
Straight. I'm a champion. Tequila's like a juice.
Wait, but I'm gonna comment on LA.
Yes, please do.
I have family out there and friends, and they're in the industry and they deal with all the artists, celebrities. And one thing I will say, the culture is night and day from here in New York. It's hi, nice to meet you. How many followers do you have? Hi,
That's wild.
What do you
what's-
do?
Like
Mhm.
who do you know?
Very status.
Yeah,
Very
and
Yeah.
honestly, like that will be the best of you. It's not real. It's not warm, heartful, soul connecting. It's nothing of that. It's very just superficial. And my friends all go through it, family, and I hate to hear it. I'm like, come home, come here. You could still be in the industry over here and not deal with that.
Yeah.
People go to the club, they're not worried about what you're wearing, if your hair's sticking up, if your lipstick's on wrong. Like, they're not going to kick you out. You can't not sit at a table because of that. It's just very, the criticism is high. And I did experience it because I went to some parties out there. I will say I was the only girl without work done. Let's just say it like that. So not saying that matters. Shout out to everybody, to each his own. But LA it's like that. And I still love it. I have done the other things besides all that too. Downtown LA, I've gone thrifting, I've gone to Melrose, all that stuff. The food's amazing. The beaches, love it. I do prefer the beaches in California over New Jersey.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
Just all the
I
East
feel like there's
Coast
no
beaches.
comparison.
Yeah, there isn't. There truly isn't.
Seriously, they're
That's not the
cleaner, they're
dog.
free.
Yeah.
You can see the
What do
sunset.
you mean? You have to pay to go to the beach here?
I didn't know
What?
that. I didn't
How
know that.
much? Why?
I don't know exactly off the top of my
It's like
head.
the park cleanup or something.
but
maybe.
they
That's
charge you to get on the
insane.
beach starting Memorial Day.
What the hell?
I'll say too, even I went to Santa Barbara recently and I was just in an Uber and I was like, oh yeah, what time does the beach close? He was like, beach close.
Yeah, what?
Because here the beaches have to close
Really?
because people will be on the beach doing crazy stuff, getting
Yeah.
into trouble, and police will just shut it down and clear
Oh,
the
wow.
whole beach.
Like
yeah.
in New Jersey, it's more like the lifeguards will leave around 5 or 6. They just get everyone out of the water and they put their little seat down. But then you can still go on and then it's free after like 5 or 6. And you can go swimming, but it's at your own risk. But still during the day, it's like I think it could be $15.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Jersey, it's just so expensive. You guys want to talk about New York being expensive? Jersey's expensive as hell.
I wanted to go back to the point you made too about LA and the stars and all of that thing.
Yes.
Because I remember the first time I went to LA, I was 22 and it was for work. And so I was just very used to like just being around my coworkers. And then we were there for work. So it was like celebrity basketball games and things like that. They were just really fun. So there were celebrities around. I was like, okay, this is so fun. This is cool. It's my first time being out there. But when we would go to parties, I experienced the same thing where I was like, hi, what do you do? Like immediately, not what's your name, but what do you do? So I was just like, okay. So I feel like the comparison I've always made is that in LA, everybody's looking for the star, but in New York, everybody is a star.
I love that.
Literally
That is a
everybody.
great
Yes.
phrase.
It's
Beautiful.
like you should know me because I'm doing this and I have my podcast and I'm doing this and that, but you could just be any girl from around the way. Like you didn't have to be connected to anybody. Like it's never like that here, I feel.
Seriously?
That's
Yeah.
literally the main reason why, like, because I would have moved to LA, but I was just like, I think my mental health will severely decline in LA. Like,
That's what I
the
hear.
main reason would be the people, just because everyone's so fake and everyone's just a social climber. So, they get what they want from you and then they move on to the next relationship, even like friendships too. So I was like, no. And then plus everyone has like so much plastic surgery. If you're not like perfect, then people aren't going to look your way. I feel like dating would be awful in LA.
My ex is from LA, but again, it really just depends,
Yeah.
Like, it really just depends on the. But I'm sure it is. Again, it is very superficial. And talking about your point, and what everyone's saying is like there's so much. Like LA, I feel like is a staple of plastic surgery in the
Yeah.
country.
And Miami.
Yes, yes, and so it is one of those things that, to your point, it's just
New York is not known for that,
yeah.
which is great.
Mm-hmm.
You got to watch your back in New York, but
That's right.
Speaking of dating, because you were kind of going into that, what has dating been like for all of you here? Again, for you guys that have been here, and then you're brand new. So, what is like, and being at this age too? We're all single, and we have all been through different periods, chapters in life. What is it like right now, and what are you enjoying? First and foremost, about being this age.
Like a few part question.
Yes.
I love it though. Okay, so dating in general, I feel like most of the time when you're like in high school, like in your adolescence, like for the most part, some people live close by, but not everyone. And of course, close by when you're 13 years old is like, okay, like within like 5 or 6 blocks or 5 train stops. But if you're farther than that, it's like, oh yeah, you live over there. That's far. I have to go all the way over there to see you. I don't know about that. So when when you don't have a car or anything like that yet. It's mostly just in your school or in your neighborhood or something like that. When I feel like lockdown happened, I feel like dating in the city really changed, because I felt like even before, like in 2018, 2019, you could still go out and meet somebody. Is he Mr. Right? Maybe not. Mr. for this month? Okay, yeah. But otherwise, it would be like, okay, you meet somebody, you can see how this goes, blah, blah, blah. Once dating apps really took off in the lockdown, I feel like the whole dynamic shifted. And it feels like, and I'm only going to speak from my experience, it feels like for the most part, I'll just speak about men have so many options because of dating apps. They don't really have to show up. They don't have to give you that elevator pitch like they do in Sex and the City, where they have to have their clothes on, their watches on, shoes look good, and you have to go and you have to hold my attention, and you only have about a 10-second window, or I'm going to move on to the next guy who's also trying to talk to me. I feel like all of that faded away, and men don't even really approach you anymore. I feel like maybe a guy who's younger than me, like maybe like a 24, 25, will like, okay, get the courage. Okay.
That's the only ones doing it nowadays.
Right, exactly. Let me buy her a drink and then maybe I can talk to her. But guys my age, I'll see them just kind of just boop, 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 looking around just with their friends. And I'm like, are you trying to date anybody? Are you just here? So it feels like, for the most part, just back to the original point, men have a lot of options through dating apps, and just in general, it feels that way. I have more parts to that, but I don't want to take the whole question.
Yeah, no, we'll go back to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Dating is
dot.
yeah, like, do we want to go down this rabbit hole? I'm gonna just keep it light and sweet.
Sure.
So I've been listening to a lot of Jay Shetty. Shout
Yeah.
out Jay Shetty.
Love him. Yeah.
I will say that, everyone's end goal, all of us, we're single, right? And we're looking for Mr. Right. We want to find our partner in life. And that's cool and everything, and that's beautiful, and love is beautiful. But what I'm starting to realize now that I'm 30, I've been around the block, seen a lot, whatever. I will say that what my goal is, and what I've been learning and reading in all my books, it's becoming love. It's not looking for love. Once you become love, you will attract it. Once you become who you are supposed to be in this life, your purpose, then you will attract that partner. And I'm just now realizing that, like, just had a conversation the other day, and yes, we were talking about spirituality and religion and all that, because that does align with it, but it does come down to options. And everyone's out here thinking, oh, it's just a swipe, oh, it's just an Instagram profile, oh, it's just a Snapchat, whatever. But for me now, I don't care about any of that. I'm going to become love. And it's taken me a long time to realize that, because I've had to learn what love is, and that's so many different definitions. But when it's turned inwards, and when you just start doing everything out of love and with patience, and you're teaching yourself that, and we talk about my dating all the time, and it's crazy. It's a whole entertainment comic book. But we will say that it's just all about turning in, reflecting inward, and it's like, blur out the outside noise. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, my appearance is nice. Okay, whatever. Like, walking down the street, sure, people will look and talk and whatever. But it's like, when I know that I will attract my person, it's because I am, first off, ready. Maybe I haven't been ready these whole years. I've been saying I want a boyfriend for years now, but it's like, I'm realizing more and more, I was not ready. If the man came, I probably did meet him already, and I was just like, bye, see you later. But now it's like, oh, wait, I need to become love, do everything out of love, even if it's a stranger holding the door open, even if it's, oh, like, let me just fix this for you. Like, it's just doing everything out of love, and that will just attract your person. Just leave it at that.
I love that. That was so beautiful.
I love that too.
Yeah, it was really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Becoming what you want to attract.
Yeah.
So a little lovey-dovey for me, but
She's like,
she's about to cleanse the palate.
yeah,
Like,
she's
okay,
like,
now back
hold
to zero.
up. That's the tequila talking.
I haven't even drank.
For me.
Cheers to that.
I don't know what I was gonna say about dating, but I don't want to speak too much on it in case anyone I'm talking to watches or listens to this.
Fair enough.
But I am obviously new here, and there is a lot of options. So I feel like I'm keeping my options open. Like, I do like someone a lot, but I don't know.
Need to see a little more.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, dating is also, I don't mean to interrupt you, but dating is also just nowadays, it's nuts.
It is.
It's insane.
So
it's
many
not
stories.
normal. It's not what
Yeah.
I'm used to even 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I was watching Sex in the City the other day, and I saw like the guy come up to the door and knock on the door to get the girl to go ask her to whatever. They had a date planned, and he came up to the door and to come get her and escort her to the car. It's not even remotely close to that
Right.
anymore.
If he even gets out of the car to open
Yeah,
the door.
exactly.
Oh no, he has to do
He
that.
has to.
I'm
It's
not,
just like,
I'm not getting out of the.
yeah.
Like, I'll just sit in the. I'll
I
sit
can
in the
imagine her
car.
just like,
We're
No,
just gonna
I'll
look
dead
at
ass.
each
I'll
other.
sit in the car until you open my door. Like that type of stuff, I don't play about. Like, I need my man to be so like a gentleman. Like, I want my man to be a provider, a gentleman, and just like an old-fashioned kind of man.
Yeah, and that's on requirements too. Because a lot of people, even in talking to other people about dating, they're like, "Oh no, you're being too harsh. So what if it's this? So what if it's that?" It's like, no, what works for me is not going to work for you, and probably will work for the next person. We're all different, and we all require different things. So even having conversations about dating sometimes can be like, "Oh, well, that's why you're single because you're too picky or whatever." Like, I have my requirements, and this is what I need, and this is what I know I need. That could be different for you. You might not need anything. You might just need him right beside you, and that's it, you know? So, yeah, I agree with that. Just setting that expectation, setting that tone early, I think is
Yeah.
great.
you have to.
I'm
Yeah.
quick to cut people off because like I know like the qualities of a person that like I'm looking for. So even if something's really small, like I really might just cut you off because I know that's not going to work for me. Like when I was younger, I would allow anything and everything. I'd be like, "Oh, like we'll figure it out. We'll make it work." But like if someone tells me their opinion on something and I'm like, "Oh no, like I have the complete opposite opinion." Like I'm like there's something as simple as that could like lead to problems in the future. So I'm just like, I'm not even going to bother like entertaining this. I know like our
What your morals
personalities
are.
aren't, I'm like, our personalities might not vibe. Like maybe they will in the beginning, but it's going to be hard down the road.
Yeah,
So
signs are real.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like what you
Yeah.
were telling me in the car before we, came in. It's about intentionally dating and seeing like, all right, as friends, you might vibe with somebody. The chemistry might be there. The attraction might be there. But what's the values? What's the morals? How's your family life? How was your upbringing? That all comes into like,
That's really what it is. Like hearing all of us speak, we're in 2024, but we all grew up with a different mindset, I would say, or a certain mindset, I should say, of what love should be.
yes.
And as we've grown up and as society has changed and as time has changed, culture has changed, there's so much within life and in today's just way of being that I'm like, you really have to know who you are, which comes back to what you're saying, what you want, what you value, and the root of it all, because there's so many different moving parts of society that I feel like pull you or kind of like show you like, oh, well, life could be this way or it could be this way. And so you really have to be like, well, what do I want? Despite the chaos that whether it's New York City or LA or whatever city it is that you want in the long term. I was having a conversation recently with someone where a fellow entrepreneur, a male, and it was a great conversation. And we were talking about the fact that, and I was going to ask this question later on, but there's a question that's posed often to people in and around our age, I feel like, that's like, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And I was like, I can't even see myself farther than 1 year, and I go a year at a time. And so for me, I have my structure of my family dynamic. I know what I want. I can visualize it. But I'm so open-minded to the fact that I have my morals, I have my values, I know what I'm looking for in a partner, but it's unrealistic to look for me on my own past 1 year. And so, and again, whenever I hear about people choosing partners and things like that and committing, you're really having to make that choice day in and day out. And there's so much that goes into that. So before even entering a commitment, I think it's so important to know their morals and their values and understanding that that aligns, because so much can happen. The world is going to toss different things at you. And are you going to be ready to face that with, on your own, and then also with a partner and all of that? So there's a lot that goes into it, and it's not an easy route. Our parents' generation really was about building a partnership from nothing. And our generation really is about having it all together, or having a table on your own prepared and then merging that table with someone else. And I think that it's honestly somewhat unhealthy with our approach of and as a society versus our parents. I think there's such a beauty in, and again, I feel like my life has been very much like work hard, do what you got to do. Eventually my table will align with someone else. But I look at the beauty of, for me, my parents' relationship and seeing all the dreams and goals they've accomplished by supporting one another when they had nothing. And it's this beautiful, well, yeah, I mean, again, they had nothing. They came from very tough upbringings. And I always go back to thinking about that, because they created such a beautiful space of love.
They really did.
From individual tough upbringings. My father lost his mother at 16 years old, saw her battle cancer for many, many years. My mom went through war in a third world country, and again, our mothers did.
My mom has never talked about it, and I don't think she ever will.
It's very traumatic. It's very traumatic.
It's so traumatic to the point where she has never even mentioned or acknowledged it to me.
What do you mean they went through war? They were
she came here because of that, and she would never tell me that straight up. I only know because your mom and stuff.
Yeah. Wow. And it's such a trauma in Nicaragua, and again that and all of that dynamic. And so again, growing up in a place and understanding the privilege of two people created a very safe space for me to thrive, and understanding that again within a family, and now at 34 looking for a partner. There's so much. And again, we all have kind of said, look, we're all a catch in our own ways. We all have really worked very hard as individuals to be the best that we can be. And it's a very tough place. And it's not just New York City, but it's just our society in general of, look, this is me, this is who I am, and opening up to someone without it being like, oh, well, there's dating apps and there's the next girl and she's great too. And it's just hard, And a lot of people have said this, and I feel this now more than ever. It's really about being ready. I've heard so many different people talk about the fact, and it's mostly men, that there will be such beautiful options in front of you. But the moment a man is ready, it's like whoever's in front of them.
Yes.
And I've heard that over and over and over again. And I've never thought about it for myself, because I always hear about
women aren't like that.
No, traditionally not. I think that this is just my opinion, I feel like we make everything better. I think that when you're in your natural, feminine, nurturing state, whatever it is, we add such beautiful value to someone's life. And, again, I'm very traditional in my sense of what I want because of my parents. And so I guess I've always just waited for somebody that's going to be again, ready when I'm ready. And I've been ready, and I wasn't ready until recently. But again, it's just so interesting, dating. And someone recently, just to finish this off, told me they're not from here. They've lived in New York City for 6 years. It's a male. And he said, New York City teaches you so much about love. You might not find your person here, but it teaches you so much about love. And just within the 2 years that I've been here, or almost 2 years, a year and a half, I have learned a lot about love. And I appreciate New York City in that aspect as well.
New York is romantic.
It can be if you're I am a hopeless romantic, but at the same time.
Me too.
Yeah.
I still want that, horse carriage.
Prince
I'm gonna ride in
Charming.
one of those.
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So first, thank you, all three of you, for sharing your perspectives, because of course it's really helpful to hear, even for listeners too, to be like, oh, okay, that it's not just me then. It's not just me that's experiencing this, or it's not just me that's looking for this and maybe still hasn't found it. So thank you, all three of you, for sharing that. My question is, what are your POVs on changing a man? Because a lot of people feel, okay, a man's going to do what a man's going to do. If he wanted to, he would. Then there's other people that are like, oh, okay, well, we can change that. We can fix that. When I get him, we can fix that. We can change the way he dresses. We can change the way he talks, the friends he hangs out with. If he's ready, to your point too, we can push him to get to that spot. How do we feel about that?
There's certain things that you really can't change about someone because that's who they are. Like maybe they were raised with that quality. That's just them. I mean, obviously, like clothes, all that you can change. But I think like values you can't change. Yeah.
The
The
clothes,
superficial thing, you can change all that type of stuff. Yeah.
The clothes example makes me laugh because there was a time. There was a time where I was dating someone and he had a style, but it was just more streetwear. And I wanted to see, I'm a very clean lines kind of girl. I love to see like a chino pant. I love a sweater. I love just like that refined kind of like, even like a smart casual kind of look, if that gives you a visual. I love that look. So I was just like, oh, and this is when I was like 21. It's like, oh, let's take him to Top Man. Let's take him to Top Shop and see if we can get any clothes on him that he'll like, and we can just start to push him in that direction. So I'm like full stylist mode. I'm like pulling sweaters. I'm like, oh yeah, this green with this khaki, this looks good. Like I'm putting all this stuff together that he never wears and he never would wear. And I was just like, oh, let's just see if I can just put it on him and see if he likes it. The thing with me when I'm dating somebody, it is to my disadvantage, is that we end up being so connected that sometimes it's like they're reading my mind. So I'm not saying anything of like, I don't like the way you dress. We're going to change this. I'm like, oh, try this one on. Let's see how this one looks on you. And he literally puts it on. He's entertaining me, putting all the outfits on, taking pictures. I'm like, you look great, blah, blah, blah. And he literally was like, I feel like you're trying to change me. And I was just like,
oh my God. Just because the clothes.
Yes. So sometimes it's received in a way of like, oh, okay, you don't like the way that I dress, but in a negative way, not necessarily being like, oh, like, the way you dress is fine, but I just think you look better in these clothes. But the changing the way that he dresses, sometimes it's not that easy.
I don't like guys who can't dress. Like, I don't want to be your stylist. Like, if I'm going to be your stylist, you need to pay me.
There we go. That comes with a fee.
Yeah, and no, I love, like, the sexiest thing to me is, like, a guy who has, like, his own, like, swag and style.
Yes.
Like, if you can dress, like, you could be ugly and I'll probably still like you because you can dress.
Yeah.
That's definitely a top quality for me. And especially moving to New York, I was like, oh, my God, like, I'm going to find, like, a fashion guy because I hate when guys can't dress.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. My approach on changing men. I'm not gonna head down that route.
Yeah.
It's too much energy. It's really about what you said. It's like your guy's gonna be ready or he's not. If he vocalizes that early in the stages, I'm not ready, my time here is done. I'm not gonna try to change your mind. I know my worth. I stand on business.
There we go. Period.
Why that is circle
I
back.
stand on business. Like literally the conversation the other day, if you're watching this, God bless you. Just the old ones reaching out because I post a fire story or something, you know. So
Right,
it's like,
don't text me just because I posted a selfie.
I'm thinking about you. I know.
Yeah,
I hope
I know,
I hope you think
right?
about me. I hope you think about
Yeah.
me. You're not gonna stop, actually.
I love this question. I have always, and everyone knows me, I would never want to change anyone but it comes back to, I would never want anyone to change me. Like, I would want someone to receive me. I just in the last 3 years have changed so much. My dreams, my visions, what I want and need in my life. I would never want to change someone else. Again, I really feel like it comes down to meeting someone at the right timing and just wanting to have, this is so cheesy, but so me, just like such an adventure with someone and like them being on the ride and the adventure with me and seeing where it goes. Again, as an entrepreneur, I'm like, I look at things in quarters, you know, again,
I love
business
that.
wise, I look at things in quarters. I look at things the year out, you know, the discipline, it starts with that, my day-to-day routine, my weekly routine, my quarterly routine. I would never want to change anyone, and I would never want them to change me. So that's
Yeah,
what it comes
I'm not going
That's
to change
true.
for someone
That's
unless
true
it's like
about
positive.
changing you or wanting to change you. Like, would you want that?
Right.
I mean,
Opens that door.
you could put me onto life. You can put me onto new wisdom,
Put me
books,
on.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Such a turn
Yeah,
on.
you can change
You
me
put
in a
me on
positive
everything.
way.
Yeah.
But-
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You could put me on, and I will put you on too.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, especially at our age,
Yeah.
you should have your own style. You should have your own wants, needs, desires,
Mm-hmm.
all that.
Yeah.
Just like I have mine.
What are our wants and desires right now at this age?
I would say for my own self, I want to be making great money, which I already am, and I'm super proud of myself for that. I have worked my ass off to be where I'm at. The oldest sibling, to be where I'm standing in my family, making the money I'm making, like very proud of myself. My parents are super proud of me, and I want to take care of them. Like that's what I like. My end goal already is I'm already thinking about buying property for my family,
Mm-hmm.
setting them up to be good and not worried and not stressed out. I would love to feel that, and it would be like the biggest blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. That's a definitely want, desire. Love is there. But I do want a passionate love. I don't want to marry for logic. I do want to marry for passion. Probably will be a little bit of both when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And I want to keep building really powerful female friendships because friendships are huge in my life. I love my girls, and they are what keeps me going. They're my companions because I'm single out here.
Yeah.
So lots of girly dates.
Yeah.
And
Can
I
I
love
ask
that.
you a follow-up question, Scarlett?
Sure.
Are you a first-generation American, or do you come from an immigrant family?
No, I would say I'm like second.
Okay. Yeah.
So my grandparents were all born in Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then my parents were born in New York.
Okay.
So,
yeah. I
yeah.
ask because I feel like most of the time, as a first generation American, I feel like a lot of the times we recognize all of the sacrifice that we've come from. And we're just like, oh my gosh, how could I not give back? Or even seeing your parents struggle or seeing what they had to do to get you where you are, how could I not give back to them? So even when you said to buy your family a house and to take care of them, I'm like, oh, that's 100% like an immigrant kid thing.
No, I just want to do that just because like I am fortunate and blessed enough that like if my life keeps going in the direction it is, like I will be able to one day. And I'm blessed and grateful and thank God every day that continue on this path and that I'll be able to do that.
Kaitlyn?
Wait, what was the original question?
Just what are your dreams and desires, your wants right now for life?
I feel like I'm starting my life like brand new, especially moving here. So I don't know. I have a lot of things that I need to change and work on. I definitely want to switch careers. I don't really know what I want to do. Like I might want to go back to school. I'm just honestly, it's so fresh moving here. I'm taking things like day by day. I need to be like patient because I can't have everything like instantly, which I really want. But yeah, definitely more superficial stuff. Like I want a new job, a new apartment, like all that type of stuff.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But that will come with time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're meant to go through these things in your new journey to New York.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
Yeah. I feel like I needed to like move away from my family to like have my own identity. So moving here is like a huge, huge change. And I feel like I'm really like for the first time in my life, like growing up, like, and I don't know. I feel like I'm just becoming like who I'm supposed to be. And like this is really just like the beginning, early stages. I feel like I'm like 22, 23, just like figuring out life.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really have that chance to do that at that point in my life. So I just feel like I'm starting everything over.
I love that.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful and it's amazing that you get to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, just being a student of life, always
Yes.
growing, never feeling like you know it all, or never feeling like, okay, I've done it, like moving on, next thing. There's always more to learn and more space for you to grow in yourself.
And I've known you since you were born. And again, as a fellow oldest sister, just again, I know what it is, but also just proud of you. So proud
I'm
of
gonna
you.
cry.
No, I know. I've been trying not to cry, but I am. And you know that. You know that
Yeah.
more than anything. I'm so happy that you're here right now. I feel like we were 100% meant to be together here right now.
Yeah.
I'm just very proud of you.
Thank you. It means a lot because I feel like, to be honest, I feel a little bit ashamed to be starting over at this age because I feel like I'm too old to not have it figured out. It's good that people see this though because they're
Don't give up.
yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know because people look at my Instagram, they look at me, and everyone just assumes everything's perfect, you have everything, but that's just Instagram. Yeah.
And societal pressure in that is real too, of looking to your left and your right and feeling like, oh, there's people that are doing X, Y, and Z. I'm
Yeah.
not doing that, or feeling like you're behind in some way. So that's why I said that I love that you're like, oh yeah, I'm starting over, because you're not even 30 yet, girl, by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't leave California until 30 years old, and my life every single year has been God has just sent me to places
if
that I
you were
never could have dreamed
30.
of.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the
100%.
age.
No,
Yeah.
I'm very scared. That's the scariest thing on earth to me. Sorry, guys.
No, you're
but
good.
I'm terrified of being older. I always have, and I've always the scariest thing on earth to me is turning 30 because I'm fuck, if I don't have my every single thing lined up perfect, and I'm 30, I haven't I think I'll just be a loser.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Just
We were
relax.
just talking before the podcast started of, oh, how did you feel turning 30? Because we turned 30 a month apart. And we were talking about how even in just talking to other people who are well into their 30s, they know that this time is one of the most beautiful growing periods of your entire life. There's so much that comes in your 30s that's really, I feel, sets the foundation for the rest of your life. And there's so many things that change. You decide, okay, you know what? This is something I did in my 20s. This is something I did when I was a teenager. I'm not doing that anymore. Setting new standards for yourself, growing, changing your circle was a big one for me. Changing the people that are around you that inspire you and push you forward to imagine and see more for your life. All of that happens when you're 30. I feel it starts then.
And you now that I'm getting closer to 30, I don't think that's old. I don't feel 30 is not old at all. I still feel like I'm a teenager and I'm getting closer to 30. I'm
30-year-old teenager.
yeah, because when I looked at when I was a kid and I looked at my mom and her friends, I thought 30 was so
Well, they had us
old.
young too. My mom had me when she was 23. At
My mom-
23, I was lost, and I picked up a one-way ticket, moved to Arizona, and said bye.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah. No, but also going back to that too, Kaitlyn, I just wanted to say too how I deeply admire the both of you of just saying, okay, my safety net is back in California. I'm just going to do
Super.
this here. And you don't have this foundation of for
Family.
me, the example I gave before of if push comes to shove, I have a lot of resources. If you guys had a situation where something happened with work or even something happened with
I
your
did have a
health,
situation,
Yeah.
and I wanted to move back home because I had no man to call. My dad passed away, so back home I don't have him, but I have a stepdad. So I have my stepdad, I have my brother-in-law, basically, Zach, Tracy's boyfriend.
The best person ever. Shout out, Zach.
Yeah, I have a lot of men who I can call if I need help or support with manly things, and here I don't have that. So Yesenia was my man, and you too. You guys came to help me when I had a very scary
I went through the
situation.
same stuff living in Arizona. I knew two people. It's hard. It's humbling. Helps you grow so much.
right.
Helps you so
Yeah.
much.
So I deeply admire the both of you for that
Thank
reason
you.
because I know that growth has happened. I haven't left New York.
wanna
I
know
love
your
New York so
dreams
much.
and desires.
Oh yes, we have to go back to that. We have to go back to
I
that.
want to know that, and I want to end it
Yeah.
on that. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So, what are your dreams and desires right
Yes.
now, Brittany?
So my dreams and desires are all on my vision board. And really,
Yes.
I'm a vision board girly. I love my vision
Yes.
board and I live my life by it, really.
Amen.
Because it's almost like it's
Amen.
like a rubric and a true physical manifestation of everything I want.
Yes.
The first vision board I had was magical and I should have just kept it, but I kind of took it apart and put new goals on it. But I made a list, a very specific list of even I want to get my driver's license this year. I made
you
a
not
list
have
of
it?
I have it now.
Oh, okay.
I have it now. But everything, I think it was a list of 10 to 15 things, even about like my title at work, the amount of money I want to make. Everything happened in 2021, everything. And it was happening back to back. And I was like, what is going on? But I felt like, at least for me, having the physical manifestation of it, you can say, you pray over your vision board, manifesting it, lucky girl syndrome, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I think physically putting it out into the world has a lot of power. Like, even if you're not repeating it to yourself every day, but just taking it out of your mind and putting it in the physical realm, I think is so, so powerful. But to answer your question, I definitely have always thought of myself as being a person that could be a person of influence, not necessarily an influencer, but somebody that can affect change. So in the ways that I've always been like, oh, like this is what I really want to do for work. If only I got the opportunity. Okay, I got this opportunity. I can't mess this up. I'm going to give it 110%. I look at other people and say, oh my gosh, I want to be that person who opens that door for somebody else. So even when people are like, oh yeah, like I love that you work in events. I love that you do this, blah, blah, blah. Can I talk to you? I take that call every time because I want to be the person that can be a part of someone's journey in that way. Yeah, so honestly, that's my main goal.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful that we could all come together for this episode. I'm so happy that we our conversations leading up to this were so beautiful. And again, just a testament to our individual friendships and our group friendships. We've all gone out together, you guys. We've all known each other. And I just am so excited for the future. And again, just so empowered by all of you. And that's why I asked you all to come on, because I really wanted to share your stories and your views and your visions of the world. And obviously, this is not going to be the last episode that you guys see them on. Clearly, we can talk for hours.
Yeah.
So this is just the beginning. And I'm so happy that you guys tuned in to season 5, episode 1. This will be a 2-part episode, but I know I'll bring them back this season because, again, they were incredible. So thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
coming
Thank
on.
Thank you for having
you.
us.
Absolutely.